The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of my Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. I'm being real. I don't even think I like this episode too much outside of that scene. Before we begin, we have a word from our sponsor, and that sponsor being The Coldest Water. The Coldest Water is a company that sells insulated water bottles that keep your drinks, you guessed it, ice freezing cold all day long. One thing about me is that I cannot stand a warm drink. I absolutely cannot freaking stand it. And with the Coldest Water, I don't have that issue. I can literally get my drink out of the fridge, pour it in this cup, and it'll keep it cold as long as it needs to be, because I go through drinks quick, okay? I can drink this whole thing in like 1 hour. I like to stay hydrated, okay? The Coldest Water, I am able to do that because I do struggle with being hydrated, mainly because I don't like my drinks cold. I'm very picky. If you don't like this color, they have other colors, and then you want something bigger than this, they have that. You want something smaller than this size, they have that just as well. Use my code HOOK for 10% off your order. Thank you guys again so much at The Coldest Water for sponsoring today's video. Now let's hop back into it. Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and I'm back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriyanna and welcome back to The Pirate Ship, also known as Harry Hook's Pirate Ship. I am the captain, you are not my first mate. I don't got enough first mate because you want to know why? Bring your ear closer to the speaker so you can hear me clearly. Nobody's worthy of being the first mate, but hi, hello, how are you guys doing? My name is Harriyanna and I like to make content based off nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues I find within those spaces. So I decided that I am going to be doing weekly recaps and reviews and analysis of season 5 of Miraculous Ladybug. Listen, I've never been the recap review girly. Like, I've been like kind of like the review girly, but like the weekly recap, this is a risk that we're gonna take. And I originally was gonna skip doing Evolution, which is the season premiere of season 5 of Miraculous Ladybug. Mind you that I watched this episode over the summer, but I just now watched it like at midnight of when it finally came out in English in America, like the English dub. Mind you, I didn't really like this episode that much then, and I didn't really like it now all that much for pretty much of the same reasons, and that is because I found this shit confusing as hell. That is why I simply didn't want to make a video about this episode, but I knew somebody was gonna be like, Harry, if you're gonna be doing weekly recaps of Miraculous, you need to do all the episodes. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Here we fucking go. We're going to be talking about Evolution. Now, how these recaps are gonna go is that I don't want to sit here and just, I can't fucking stand recaps. If I wanted to recap, I would have went on Wikia, like the fandom's website. I would have went on that. But no, I'm gonna sit here and pick out certain things about the episode that I like to talk about, things that I stood out to me, things that I liked, things that I didn't like. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Evolution is the season 5, girl, you so tired. Season 5 premiere of Miraculous Ladybug that takes place not too long after the events that happened at the end of season 4 of Miraculous Ladybug, and that is a big issue that I have with this episode, because the last 2 episodes of season 4 of Miraculous Ladybug, Strike Back and Risk came first, but those took place in one day, and then moving on to Evolution, it takes place in one day just as well. So we have 3 episodes that are all sitting here taking place in one day, and I'm sorry, I am not enjoying this. It's just so much shit is going on all at once, and it just kind of feels very cluttered and like kind of like heavy, if you'd say, because when you realize that this has all been going on in one day, you're like, oh, this is actually extremely painful, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing that they decided to make this creative decision. But then when you actually look at all that has happened, it feels kind of like a never-ending day. Like, I'm pretty sure that this entire arc, especially what's happening in Evolution, it went over into like 1 a.m. the next day. But it was just so much going on because, as we know, Gabriel Gress bitch ass, who is the villain of the series, he got in all the miraculouses with the exception of the ladybug and the cat miraculous, you know, the ones that he actually wanted. He didn't get them shits. So he basically is going through time, fucking up the time-space continuum, trying to, you know, go back in time and steal the ladybug and cat miraculouses. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't care about the entire magic aspect of the show, the superhero aspect. That is not my interest, but it's mainly the human aspects of this series. So when I do these recaps, that is mainly what I'm going to be focusing on. And throughout this episode, it's just kind of frustrating to watch because time travel is something that is already pretty confusing when you're dealing with. Like, I take Minutemen, that Disney Channel original movie. The main reason that they were able to do a good job when it came to the time travel aspect of it is because the original setting for the movie was just so simple. Miraculous Ladybug is not one of those things. So when we were in the case of having this time traveling sequence going on, basically it's like they were going through different episodes of the show, and it's like Gabriel sent their asses on like a wild goose chase, and it was just kind of, I wouldn't say it was nerve-wracking, and it was kind of annoying, but what made it most annoying to me, in my opinion, is that it was just so fucking confusing. I was just not with the shits. I was just not with this time sequence. And then, by the way, adult Alex is back because it got so fucked. Basically, adult Alex, who is Bunny X, she comes from the future. If shit gets too fucked up in the past, that's when she shows up. That is when she shows up. But because of that, things were so bad, they had to go back to Alex in the past because basically Gabriel done zapped her ass. Listen, this is, I think, one of the points in the episode that really made me think, I don't like this. You can see that little Alex, who I love, she ends up getting her miraculous. Yay! Like, we actually see Alex in the past get Fluff, the bunny miraculous. But then, like, she's just gone after that. Like, after that, and she did what she had to do to save the day, she's just like kind of gone. It's like the show got rid of her. And I have had a big problem with the way this show treats Alex's character from the longest, since season 2. In season 1 and season 2, her ass was just there in the background and being like support for other characters. And I loved her then. Like, I like Alex. I think she's a great character. She's pretty fun. But season 3, like, I was like, wait a damn minute. How do you have her sitting on the back burner for so long doing little to nothing and just being there as like Marinette's friend, very supportive, which is not a bad thing. But if that just stayed her character, that would have been something else. We find out in season 3 that she's one of the most important aspects of the series. And I was like, well, if she's one of the most important aspects of the series, why don't y'all act like that? We barely saw much of any of Alex in season 4. And then in season 3, we have an episode where she runs the show because Alex basically carried this episode because she's the one who mainly saved the day. And now she's like she's just fucking gone. They just like got rid of her. They're like, oh, well, she's gone. That's sad. And I'd say, like, this entire time traveling sequence I really didn't like, mainly because it was just a little too hard to understand. And that's one thing about Miraculous Ladybug that gets on my nerves, is because sometimes the show is too easy to understand because, you know, this is directed towards kids, but then also they make shit so confusing for like that adult audience to the point where my grown ass is just still confused. maybe I'm just not like a big fan of time traveling sequences or anything like that. Maybe because I'm black and I know I can't travel too far back in time. But moving on from that, speaking on time traveling, we see that Gabriel is able to travel back in time, and he does see his wife Emily, and everybody know that I don't like this bitch. I don't like her. So when she came up, I was like, that's nice, that's cute. But we do see that he did love that woman, so that was something nice we saw, because you know, the only thing that we ever really seen of Emily was just her on life support in the basement. So actually to see her like active and well and actually seeing what her and Gabriel had was very interesting. But then speaking of Emily, we have to bring up Natalie, because Natalie is on thin ice with this bitch. She's like, nigga, get your shit together or I'm done with you. Like, this, my baby was mad. She was a pissed. She was about to fuck this nigga up on the phone. But basically, Natalie was just trying to help Gabriel this entire time. This whole episode is like, it's like so much Gabe Nat angst, and I was living for it. I was like, this is what I've asked for. This is what I wanted. I love Gabe Nat. It's my favorite toxic ship, my favorite dynamic within the series. So it was nice that we did get a lot of that. And she basically is just like trying to help him, but Gabriel is so fucking hard-headed and he just was not listening. So Natalie was like, hey, I figured out how we can get, like, you know, Emily back. And then she figured it out because she's smart like that, because Gabriel's stupid, but Natalie, she's smarter than him. She just used her smarts for bad reasons. But Natalie was like, if I am able to do this, I will be fine too, because basically we know that the Peacock Miraculous, Emily used it. That's why she ended up getting sick. Natalie ended up getting sick too, but she's not that bad of, like, you know, being on life support, but she can't fucking walk. It's actually very much tragic. I actually cried in the episode when we saw that she could walk again, because that was devastating. I was hurt, y'all. But basically, Gabriel was, when he went back in time and he saw Emily, he didn't even stop. And remember that I made a video a while back talking about Miraculous Ladybug has a terrible, like a terrifying portrayal of addiction? That right there, that video low-key kind of proved that I was right, because in that moment, we see part of the reason why he didn't, like, you know, go back in time and fix Emily, and then also helping Natalie. We see that his addiction basically, you know, addiction leads people to do bad things. It leads them to, you know, doing horrible things, because they have to keep feeding that addiction, because it just keeps getting worse and worse for them. And it's like if they stop, they go through that withdrawal. It's not a good feeling. So they keep going back. And we've seen that Gabriel has shown signs of addiction numerous times in the show, but I think the first major instance where we were like, oh, this man actually does have a bit of a problem was in Style Queen, where he was it Style Queen? I'm pretty sure. But he stopped, you know, fucking up the city and bothering everybody. But then he found one instance to go back and do it, and he did it, and he hasn't stopped since. So in this episode, we do see a bit more of that terrifying portrayal of addiction, as I was right. Y'all told me I was reaching in that one. I was not. So we see that Gabriel has this addiction. He is like, oh no. Like, he's gotten so obsessed with doing this, being Hawkmoth, being a villain, using Noru, and trying to fight Ladybug and Cat Noir, that instead of going back and fixing the one thing that, you know, why he started this, he was like, no, I'm gonna keep fighting. So you know what Natalie does? She cussing his ass out. Like, he deserved every little last thing she said to him. She was like, nigga, I am done with you. And I was like, yes girl, because I'm tired of him too. I'm mad. I'm glad that Natalie finally has put her foot down with him. As I mentioned before, how it is a bit hard for her to do that, because she is so in love with him and she doesn't want to upset him and this and that and the third, because she's devoted so much of her life to him, and it can be implied that he is kind of a bit of all that she has. So for her to put her foot down with Gabriel in that moment and actually stand up to him and be like, no, you're actually wrong in that moment. You let your addiction get in the way of fixing things. You have a problem. I'm done with you. And I'm glad that she did that, because I'm like, yes, like, put your foot down with him. He's been treating you like shit, and I'm glad that you finally let him know. And you can tell in that moment, like, he was upset that Natalie was mad at him, because I don't care what nobody says. I do think Gabriel's in love with Natalie. He just don't know it yet. But in that moment, you can tell he was mad at the fact that Natalie was, you know, telling him about himself. But in that moment, he really wasn't even focused on her emotions or even how, you know, helping Emily. He was just so stuck on the fact that he still has not beaten Ladybug. And that shit was bizarre. Like, literally, I'm like, this is what I live for with this show. This dynamic right here. I love me some Gabe Nat angst, and I finally got it, because season 4 was just crumbs. It was not it. But in this episode, I really think Gabriel and Natalie were the highlight of this episode. They're the highlight of the show for me, in my opinion. But I really truly believe that their entire dynamic with this episode was just done pretty well, because in the beginning we just see that she's just trying to help him, and then slowly as time goes on, how we know, the audience, we know that Gabriel didn't do what he needed to do, but Natalie didn't know that. So when she found it out, it made it a bit, ooh, scarier. Oh, she gonna fuck him up. Ooh, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna believe that he's lying? So that's how it kind of was with the audience when she was doing that. It was pretty interesting to see. So moving on from my aspect of the show, I know I have to talk about Lady Noir bullshit, because that's what y'all want. That is what y'all eat up. For the most part, it was nice to see them not fucking fighting. Like, that shit gets on my nerves. Like, it gets on my nerves. It was just nice to actually see them talking and listening to each other, because yes, I personally think Cat Noir plays too damn much. And that's what makes things harder on Ladybug, is why she don't be wanting to deal with him sometimes. So seeing that he actually was doing better about being more serious about the job made everything so much better, and I'm glad that she is taking the time to trust him a lot more. So I did have to talk about that aspect of it, as much as I kind of don't care. Nina and Alia are cute. They had a little kissy kiss scene. That was cute. Master Fu deserves better. That poor man. He didn't ask for none of this shit, and then he passed this generational trauma all down to Baronet, and she didn't ask for this shit either. The show is just a lot of generational trauma, okay? Suhan fucking sucks. No one cares about him. But for the most part, Destruction, not Destruction, I don't know why I keep calling it it, but Evolution, in my opinion, this episode was interesting, but do I think it was the best? In my opinion, no, because there was just so much going on to the point where it was confusing. And remember when I had said, back earlier in 2022, when I said Miraculous Ladybug needs to learn how to sit down? Evolution is a prime example of that issue. The show needs to learn how to sit his ass down. Like when Miss D said on Bring It, sit your ass down. That's what this show needs to learn how to do. This episode is a really kind of bad example of that, because it was just so many issues with the pacing, because that wild goose chase was going on, and then this and that and the third, and then next thing you know, it gets quiet when we see the flashback of Emily and Gabriel, and then everything gets chaotic again with Gabriel acting the damn fool, and then it gets chaotic again because Natalie's over here cussing him out on the phone. I'm just like, what is this? Can we get some decorum? It is ghetto. But overall, what do I give this episode? I gave it a 6 out of 10. Like, I enjoyed it for the most part. The time travel aspect of it, I just didn't enjoy it too much. I'm still irritated about how the show just threw Alex away like that. The Gabe Nat angst, I gave that a 10 out of 10. Lady Noir moments, I gave that a 10 out of 10. It was nice to see Master Fu in the past, because even though I have my problems with Master Fu's character, I do feel for him, because like I said, he is a product of generational trauma. But overall, that is how I feel about the season 1 premiere of Miraculous Ladybug. Not season 1, season 5. How do you guys feel? Comment down below. I'm very curious to know, mainly because we need to get that algorithm popping. But I will be back next week, and by next week, this video probably gonna go up the day after this one. I will be going over multiplication. Like I said, I've seen multiplication already over the summer, but you know it's gonna be in English, so I'm gonna wait until then. I low-key can't wait to see. Who knows, but these weekly recaps are gonna be a trip. I'm basically doing it my old video style because this is the most fun I have with doing videos. But thank you guys so much for watching. I have new products for my store on my website, harriyannahook.com. I got new stickers, I got a new jacket, and I got 2 new books. I have a digital copy and a physical copy of both each, but the picture book is up for pre-sale. Please check that out. I would very, very much love and appreciate if you guys do. Use the code HOTSPOT30 for 30% off your order. And also, like, I have a lot of miraculous stuff on that site, y'all, like miraculous stands. Check out my website, especially if you black, because I got some, you know, miraculous hair care products over there for us black girlies, and the black men's, and the black non-binaries. Okay, like, it's something over there for all the black people, but it's basically bonnets and durags. But moving on from that, I have a web series called The Progenies. Please check that out. The link to it will be down below. We have our GoFundMe link, and then we also have our episodes that you guys can watch for free. I have a Patreon if you guys want to just support me and my work, and then I also offer exclusive behind the scenes content over there, and also exclusive videos on Patreon. So yay, we love that. Last but not least, just follow on everything at Harriyanna, HARRIYANNA. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and have a good night.
Girls will just blow your mind. Buttercup like villains 3 at a time. Bubbles will smile while kicking your butt, and Blossom will lead them out of their rut. Cherish and Powerpuff, 2 of a kind. Both wanna save the world before bedtime. From Townsville, Memphis, New York to LA, the Powerpuff Girls are just here to stay. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all.